Parsley and matzah, maror and charoset, eggs and gefilte, and matzah ball soup. The Seders are done. The crumbs of matzah linger on our counters and in our kitchens, and I hope something of the experience lingers with us as well. I hope you attended a Seder this year, or perhaps you even hosted one. It's often been noted that in any given year, more Jews attend a Passover Seder than participate in any other single Jewish observance. More than Kol Nidre, more than a typical Shabbat, it is the Seder that draws us, religious or not, back to the table. There is something powerful about that. The Seder is our most immersive ritual. It's structured and sensory, filled with symbols, choreography, taste, and story. It asks things of us, to recline, to dip, to taste bitterness and sweetness, to ask questions, to tell, and to retell. It is, as I sometimes think of, sacred theater, dinner theater at its most meaningful, crafted by the rabbis with extraordinary care. And its purpose is not simply to remember, but to experience ourselves as if we personally went free. When I was a child, the Seder felt long, tedious, even impersonal. But something shifts over time. With each passing year, the ritual deepens. What once felt like obligation becomes connection. What once felt awkward, like bringing matzah in my school lunch, begins to feel like identity, even pride. And this year, perhaps more than ever, I find myself reflecting on the particular power of that identity. Judaism does not ask us to blur our distinctiveness. It asks us quite boldly to inhabit it. This Shabbat's special Torah portion underscores that truth. In the book of Exodus, chapter 34, after the rupture of the golden calf, Moses ascends Sinai once more to receive the covenant anew. What follows is not vague spirituality or universal abstraction, but a series of very specific practices. Observe Shabbat. Celebrate the festivals, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, reject idolatry, and resist assimilation into surrounding cultures. It is unmistakably a text of particularism. Our tradition does not present itself as interchangeable or easily blended. It insists on difference, not for the sake of separation or rigidity, but for the sake of identity. Because it is in difference that a people is shaped and sustained. And we see that clearly in the ritual that continues to draw us in. The dipping of the parsley into salt water, the sharp taste of maror then softened with charoset in the Hillel sandwich, the careful diminishing of wine as we recall the plagues. These are not incidental details. They are the very texture of Jewish life. The richness of Judaism lives on in its specificity. Recently, I came across a reflection by Sarah Tuttle Singer, a Jewish-American blogger who lives in Jerusalem. She was ranting about an anti-Zionist Seder. She wrote, "You don't get to hold the story and refuse the ending." That's the tension at the heart of an anti-Zionist Seder, she wrote, and it's not a minor one. The Seder is not just a story about leaving something. It's a story about going somewhere that is ours. Every year we say it plainly, next year in Jerusalem. This is memory with coordinates. So what does it mean to sit at a table, break the matzah, taste the maror, tell the story of a people who were taken out to be brought in and then reject the very place the story insists upon? You can critique a government, for sure. You can wrestle with power, absolutely. You can argue, God knows we are very good at that. But an anti-Zionist Seder, she says, isn't just critique, it's censorship. It's taking a red pen to the Exodus and saying, we'll keep the oppression, we'll keep the tears, we'll keep the miracles, the plagues, the splitting sea, but the arrival, the return, the actualization of peoplehood in a land, that part makes us uncomfortable, so we cut it. But Judaism doesn't work like that. She argued correctly that the Seder is not only a story about leaving oppression, but about journeying towards a place, a peoplehood rooted in memory, land, and destiny. Her point is not that Judaism leaves no room for critique. On the contrary, ours is absolutely a tradition built on questioning and argument. But she challenges us to consider what it means to hold on to a story while removing its conclusion, to embrace liberation while rejecting the fullness of where that liberation leads. Whether or not we agree with every word, her reflection invites us to an essential question. How do we honor the integrity of our tradition while engaging it thoughtfully, ethically, and honestly? In our time, especially in moments when we feel vulnerable, it can be tempting to universalize our story. We emphasize the themes that resonate boldly and broadly: freedom from narrowness, the journey out of oppression, and the hope for liberation everywhere. And those themes are real, and they matter deeply, but they are not the whole story. If we strip away the particular, the rituals, the language, the practices, the historical and spiritual attachments, we risk losing the very thing that has allowed Judaism to endure. Our task, especially as Reformed Jews, is not to choose between particularism and universalism, but to hold them in thoughtful tension, to affirm that our deeply rooted Jewish story, rooted in practice, in peoplehood, in memory, and even in place, can also be a source of moral vision for the wider world. At a time when antisemitism persists, when conversations around Jewish identity, Israel, and connection can feel fraught or contested, there is something profoundly grounding about returning to what is distinctly ours. This is not a retreat from the world, but a way of standing firmly within it. To dip the parsley, to taste the maror, to tell the story, to be unapologetically and meaningfully who we are. And perhaps that is the quiet wisdom of this moment after the Seders are done, that our strength does not come from dissolving our differences, but from living them thoughtfully, proudly, and with a sense of understanding and purpose. Shabbat Shalom.